Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lethal Venom podcast. This is a show where I talk about anything I want with the honest to God truth, no lies told. Today's episode is going to be a special one. I am joined by Miss Amita Sharma. She is going to be joining us today on the podcast, and she will be talking about a topic that women have a very hard time dealing with and have a difficulty talking about. Um, my audience, for some reason, is mostly predominantly female, which was a shock to me too. I didn't know women even listen to me. Um, and I'm able to look at statistics, and it's people that are usually in their 40s and up that watch me and listen to me. And so I thought she would be a perfect guest on my show to help to kind of sit here and explain an issue that is very prominent that they have trouble talking about, and she also does do a little bit of insights on what other stuff she's read and heard. And so here is my interview with Miss Amita. So if you could just tell me a little bit about yourself and just a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so I am like a normal person, normal woman out there who has a background, studied architecture, tried to work as an architect, couldn't make a living, went into software, product management, and worked there. And I loved it, to be honest with you, because I was impacting lives of millions of users who are using a certain experience of a digital experience, so to speak. And during that whole time, I was in my early 40s or around that time frame, and I started experiencing some strange symptoms while I was working, and that started impacting my work life, actually, which was very, very important to me at that time. I was kind of determined to reach a certain ladder, which most of us want to. And that whole experience changed me because I suffered in silence for a year, for a decade. And then I decided to do something a few years back about it. And here I am in front of you.
I see from your profile that you have that you talk a lot about menopause and stress and anxiety and how women that get menopause have a trouble talking about it. What, in your opinion, is the reason why most women don't like talking about it?
Yeah, I didn't talk about it. I'm telling you my experience, and I'm an educated woman, went to the best schools in the country and all that, right? The problem is that we women, at least I can speak for myself, and I've interviewed over 3,000 women, experts around the world, and most of us have this feeling of being judged by our coworkers, specifically at the workplace. I'm talking at the workplace, and I'll come on the personal aspect as well. And we don't want to be judged. At least I did not want to be judged or face any age discrimination, which is there whether we like it or not. And so that was the fear, that I didn't want to come out and open and saying, hey, I'm going through this perimenopause. And then there's also a fear of aging and your libido going down, and sometimes there's a shame associated with it, right? Not that women don't feel comfortable talking to their partners about what they're going through, and they're suffering in silence, the way they kind of raise their kids, sometimes thinking, oh, I'm a superwoman, I can handle it. But quite honestly, the things kind of keep sliding down, sliding down. So I think it's a multitude factors that are going on in this case. When you ask me the question, there's a cultural element associated. There's the invisibility at the workplace. There's a stigma attached of the whole age discrimination. All these things kind of compound together, and women don't feel supported from the medical fraternity. There's a gap over there. So there are three, four things that are happening. It's not just one thing, right? It's not just one thing. If the society gives them some support from the medical fraternity or at the workplace, they will feel confident. They don't. So, like I said, it's not a one line answer, but you asked me, it's a multitude of things.
I can really relate it to how most guys have, for men, when it comes to depression and anxiety, it's like a thing where they don't want to share it because they feel like it's weak. I'm one that I've shared my experience with it on multiple social media platforms because no one really talks about it, and I'm really open. And I think once one person talks about it, it helps them get more comfortable and makes them feel not alone.
Yes, and that's what is happening. It's sort of like a movement, right? Right now, this whole menopause, perimenopause, you see celebrities talking about it now, like Oprah, Halle Berry, some of the other influencers, because these are all educated women and I'm sure they felt something and they're coming out with talking about making this a cause. So hopefully, over the period of few years, it will get normalized.
I know when I was in school, they rarely touched on it. And I think that's why women nowadays, and I can only imagine back when my mom was in school, it was like a taboo subject to talk about. I like to think that as a more, I guess, universe that we have, that it's more open and people are more open to talk about it. But I barely remember talking about it when I did like classes, and I hope that it's normalized now.
See, that's the problem. Even in medical, so forget about you and me. We are just normal people in the sense like, normal human beings who didn't go to medical schools or studied medicine. But even in medical schools, throughout the 15 years of studies, menopause is only taught to them for 8 hours, believe it or not. And this is OBGYN. She came on NBC and she um, said it in front of the whole national television. And perimenopause is not taught at all in the medical schools. Now, how the heck people like you and me would know how to behave? I mean, me as a woman, you as a guy, supporting your partner or your mom or your sister. How the heck you would know? You have no clue. You've never been taught any of the institutions that all of us go through, communities, and that's like our college, college or school. Then we come into the workplace, or we go to our friends circle, or we go to these medical, like for help with physicians. If none of these touch points where we are part of as a human being are not discussing that, then woman feels like, oh, I mean, she feels kind of left out. She feels isolated. There's some, that's why this anxiety and depression kicks in. 50% of the women are having anxiety and depression. 60% of the women who are going through divorce are going through perimenopause, menopause. I mean, the stats are pretty staggering, right? And then 80% of the women over 55 have one chronic condition. So, and we know that chronic condition in the United States is causing trillions of that's dollars that are being spent. That is the highest money that where the money is being spent is managing, preventing, and reversal of chronic condition, and majority of them are over a certain age group.
That baffles me, though, what you said about how it's not taught in medical school. Baffles me because I thought that would be one of the main topics for if you're going into OBGYN. I feel like that would be number one topics. That just kind of baffles me that that's not talked about.
No, the whole idea, the whole thing, women are, I hate to use very strong words here, but the focus is on the reproductive cycle, the reproduction, making babies and getting babies out, or the infertility part. It's like almost a woman's job is to get the baby out or make babies. And then after that, nobody cares. Isn't that strange? We women,
It
right?
strange times we live in.
I know, and despite all
Strange
this,
times.
where you a new internet and the AIA and the so many American Pope. I mean, so many things are happening in the world, and the women are even struggling to figure out. Oh my God, what am I supposed to do?
So I see you're real passionate about it, that you are the co-founder of a company called Nourish Dog, which for my people listening, it's a wellness platform dedicated to empowering women through every stage of their hormonal transition. How did this company and how did this come about?
So like I said earlier, I suffered in silence. I needed my job, and I was kind of like worried, and that if I bring it out that I'm having some strange symptoms, I'm not able to focus on my work. I'll be kicked out, right? And that is the truth. I was not able to focus on my work because of all the symptoms that I was facing. But at that time, I don't know how I grinned it and bear, in the sense like I had to take breaks in between my jobs. But at that time, I never thought I'll be starting a company to empower women. But a few years back, I wanted to do something on my own, and I wanted to do actually chronic condition reversal and management and prevention, as we were talking about. And the more I talked to so many holistic experts around the world, and majority of them were mid-aged women who are experts, I should say that. And they were bringing this topic again and again because we were just casually talking. And I said, "Oh my God, if someone tell me how to take care of my perimenopause, menopause," I'm like, this is the need that I started researching, and then I realized underfunded, under researched, not and talked about, shame associated with it, generational silence, workplace invisibility, medical gap, cultural stigma, all the things, right? And we don't have a sort of like a comprehensive resources where women can go to empower themselves. Affordability and scalability, it's the key. That's kind of how I started digging into, and we came up with this idea 2 years back, to really go deep into it and start working on it.
So when women come to the website, what can they expect when they log in? What do y'all offer?
Yeah, so like I said, the idea was to make it economically viable for every woman in the world. Literally, I mean it, right? Every single woman in the world. So because it's so cost prohibitive for any woman to go seek help, if they want to seek help from naturopathic doctor, it can run up to thousands and thousands of dollars. So now, when a woman comes to our platform, we have the first step is the self-care, which is in the United States going to be priced around $5 per month. And they can go in and learn about perimenopause, menopause, and also learn the tactics, simple things that they can do to help themselves. That's the main thing. What can they do to modify their diet, their lifestyle, their exercise routine, incorporate some of the holistic therapies like hypnotherapy, talk therapy, stuff like that. So there are over 25 self-care programs that we have put together for women to go through at their own pace. Now, the next step, if they need help, what we call it is the expert guided help. And then there could be simple like group workshop. They're still affordable. Like we're talking $25, like really affordability here. And then they can learn from the experts what they could do. And then the third step is if they are not able to cope up with all the things that I just talked about, they can go one-on-one with any expert who are vetted by us. Um, and they can seek help, whether it's a testing according to the holistic plan, supplements, diet, whatever they might need. So that gets a little expensive, but then at least they would have gone through this whole interim process or interim steps before spending thousands of dollars. At least now they're more empowered, and now they spend the money to whatever they need rather than going and shooting in the dark and getting 10,000 tests done and not knowing what's going on.
I really like what you're doing because I think it is very, very important about how and to my younger audience that's out there, it's a good way to kind of get prepared because as I said, I don't know how school is now, but if you didn't get taught this in high school, then if you go to college and you're not going into any of a medical profession, which we heard earlier, they're not even teaching or touching on those subjects as much. So I think this is a good method for anyone that's listening that wants to kind of get a heads up, and for women that are going through it, just know you're not alone, that they have programs out there. Um, if you want to, well, quickly wrap it up, just tell some of your social media platforms and where else people can find you to find out more information.
Yeah, the best way is to go to our website, www.nourishdoc.com. We are going to be posting all the links as soon as the app is available. The other way is you can go to our Insta. We are very active on all the social media. Insta is nourish_doc, Facebook, nourish doc, facebook.com/nourish doc, LinkedIn, You can go all the social media, and we are fairly active on posting just general guidelines. At this time, when the app comes out, then we will be posting more specific, things.
And I will, for anyone listening, I will put all these links in the description box. So if you are listening and want to come back to it, you are more than welcome to look in there. I'll put all the information, the website, and all the social media accounts links down there. Um, Miss Sharma, I really do appreciate you coming on and talking about this today. I've had a really good talk, and I really do appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Noah.
So that was my interview with Miss Amita. She was such an awesome guest. I really enjoyed talking to her about it. It is kind of surprising to me of this being a very well-known subject and topic that's not taught about. I mean, I've never heard of menopause not being taught in a medical school. Like that just baffles me about the whole thing is that how these nurses are going into this field of science and then this is the one thing they don't talk about. I mean, who else are you supposed to talk to when you don't have anyone else to talk to? So, but I do want to thank Miss Sharma for being on my show today. It was such an honor, and I was more than happy to have you on. Thank you for coming on. I will link all of her socials in the description box. The website for Nourish Dog, if you want to go check that out, you're more than welcome to go check that out. She did mention an app was coming soon, so be on the lookout. She said probably first end of May, 1st of June is when the app is going to be released. Which all that's probably on the website there. Um, as always, I want to thank you for listening to today. I know it's different, but trying some new stuff out. Finally had my first guest. You don't get to listen to me talk for X amount of time. I actually was able to talk to someone else, so I do have connections. If you would like to be updated on when new episodes are coming out, make sure to follow the podcast wherever you get it. I'm on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. I'm on YouTube at Noah's Podcast, which if you search the name of the show up, it'll probably pop up on YouTube. Um, I'm on there, and if you go to my link tree, there's a link in my Instagram bio at Lethal Venom Pod, as well as um Facebook at Noah's Podcast. There's also a link to my link tree there where it gives information about where to find the podcast and other episodes and where you can listen to those. I'm on TikTok, Lethal Venom Pod. I usually post previews on there and just some upcoming teasers and surveys that you can fill out. There was no survey today because I didn't really know what direction I wanted to take the episode in, so I didn't want to make a whole survey and then have people take the time and fill it out and then not be used. So there was no survey today. Let's see, Instagram is same, Lethal Venom Pod. I'm on there as well. You can catch basically some of the stuff. Follow it so you get to know and be able to participate in the surveys, get updates on teasers and everything. All that and everything else is on my link tree. Facebook and YouTube is Noah's Podcast. You'll find my other two podcasts on there, Southern Reads. That's a book podcast where I talk about books and only books and everything book related. And now I do have a music podcast called Music Talks. Just search Music Talks in my name and it should pop up on everywhere. If not, I've got it linked in my link tree link, which I'll also put in the description box. But the music one's just a platform where I talk about music, and it's the best place to find music from the past and present. So you're more than welcome to go check those out. Email if you want to send an email if there's a thing that needs to be corrected or just if you have any tech problems, inquiries of any sort, lethalvenompod at gmail.com. Feel free to email me. Just make sure you preface what you're emailing about so I'll know. Other than that, I don't really have any updates on upcoming episodes. I've got a lot of surveys done. I just need to sit down and actually film. So I don't have any particular ones. I know there's a school one still coming out. A decade reliving childhood episodes coming, and some other stuff. But thank you so much for listening. And once again, I can thank you, Miss Sharma, for being on the show today. And I will see you guys in the next episode of Lethal Venom.